ఏం చేస్తామంటే క్లాసెస్ వెళ్ళిపోమని
సెకండ్ ఇయర్స్ నుంచి కూర్చోమన్నారు సార్.
ఇక్కడ సరిపోదు కదా. సెకండ్ ఫైనల్ ఇయర్స్ ఎంతమంది వస్తారో అంతమందిని లోపలికి రమ్మనేసి మిగతా వాళ్ళని క్లాస్కి వెళ్ళిపోమని.
అంటే సెకండ్ ఇయర్స్ ని పంపించేస్తున్నారు సార్.
హలో ప్రసన్న. హలో, ఏం ప్రసన్న లీవ్ పెట్టేసామేమిటి? ఈరోజు వెబినార్ ఉందని చెప్తే స్పీకర్స్ ఏవి దొరకలేదు. రా అర్జెంటుగా రా, బిగిన్ అయిపోయింది. పైన ఉన్న 1306లో రా. స్నేహ వాడేడు ఇంకా రాలేదే. హలో, I want to withdraw silence. ఫాస్ట్గా వెళ్ళండి. అబ్బాయిలు నలుగురు కూర్చోండి బెంచ్ కి. ఎవరు వాడు టోపీ పెట్టుకున్నది? తీసే టోపీ తీసుకురా ఇట్లా తొందరగా. స్టూడెంట్ ఏనా నువ్వు? రాగి పగిలిపోతుంది మొహం. గుడ్డి పెట్ట సరిగ్గా. లాస్ట్కి వెళ్ళిపోండి ఫాస్ట్. బెంచెస్ ఖాళీ ఉంది చోటు. అమ్మ లేకపోతే ఈ లింక్ ఎలా పంపిస్తాము? వాట్సాప్లో పెట్టాలి లింక్. ఈ లింక్ వాట్సాప్లో ఎలా పెడతాము? మాట ఏది? ఈ లింక్ యూట్యూబ్ లింక్. అవునా, ఓకే. దాన్ని దీనిలో పెట్టేసేయండి. హైడ్రోపానిక్స్ వెబినార్లో పెట్టేయండి. I want absolute pin drop silence. Next time if I stand up, you will go out. ఎవరున్నారు? రీసెర్చ్ ల్యాబ్కి వెళ్ళండి. మీరు ఆన్ చేసుకోండి, నేను రెడీగా ఉండాలి. లింక్ పంపించానా? మీకు మీ దగ్గర ఉంది కదా లింక్? లాస్ట్ టైం పంపించినది అది వాళ్ళకి పంపించేది. వాళ్ళు ఏమని చెప్పు, బయటకి అవసరం రా, ఎన్నిసార్లు చెప్పేది? Sairam, just a couple of minutes. Sorry for the delay.
No problem.
Sairam, just a couple of minutes.
No problem. No problem. Do you have some more joining online, or that's all? You have class.
No, no, no. They would be joining through online. I'm just sending them the link.
Mm-hmm.
Ravikanth sir, I think you need to increase the volume. Sound is not
Yes,
coming.
madam. Yeah,
Yeah,
your
sir.
voice is audible, madam. We have not yet started, madam. There is a
Yeah,
small
yeah.
little technical problem in projector, madam. We are trying to sort it out. In a couple of minutes,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
will
sure.
start the webinar.
No, I am there, sir. I am readily available. So you can start, sir. No
Yes,
problem.
madam. Yes, madam. It is, Sneha, you can unmute. Sneha.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sairam, you can unmute yourself and share the screen, Sairam.
చేయమంటారా?
Cheses. Yeah, okay, fine. It is visible. Sneha, you can start the
Yes,
proceeding.
sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, one and all. This is Sneha from second year BCom, Sri Vidyaniketan Degree College, Tirupati. I welcome you all to the today's international webinar on hydroponic emerging trends in gardening and farming. Although I'm a BCom student, I'm very interested in gardening. Even in our surroundings, we can observe that despite of our age, all the people are very interested in gardening. The hydroponics has spiked in popularity because the quality and productivity of hydroponically grown plants has been unmistakable. Now I request our Honorable Principal Dr. D. Asha Lata Madam to welcome the gathering.
Thank you, Sneha. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to be talking here in this international webinar on hydroponics. There is latest and recent trends in organic farming as well as gardening. First of all, I would like to sincerely thank Dr. Sairam Reddy sir for taking out his valuable time and being here with us and accepting our invitation in spite of his very busy schedule, which we were pursuing for almost 3 months now, to be finally giving us a nod to be part of this and sharing his valuable tips as well as his valuable knowledge with all our student and teaching fraternity. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with us today. And the next thing is that we are all very blessed here in the campus of SVET because we have our very dynamic chairperson, Padma Shri Dr. Mohan Babu Garu, and very revered CEO Shri Vishnu sir for always encouraging us to take up programs which are going to add to the global transformation. I once again thank the management for always being a great encouragement, a source of encouragement for all of us. Lord, but not the least or last or anything, the entire credit of this webinar goes to the Department of Biological Sciences, the faculty, head faculty and staff who have worked out so well in the course of these 6 months when I recently joined the college and taken a few programs to come out with yet another milestone and a great value addition to the emerging trends of gardening and farming, which is going to change the global scenario in the coming time. So I take this opportunity to thank all the people who are part of this, all the students and faculty who have made this possible. So with this note, I would like to actually once again thank Sairam sir for being with us here today. And I think, you know, as a commoner, you can say, sir, as not as a principal of a college, as a commoner, I was quite, impressed with the word called sustainability time and again. Like when I've started my career as a teacher or when I was in different positions, we have worked on so many environmental conservation programs, and this has been quite a job, like hearing about sustainability. But when we come to people who really work on it, our digital technology gets lost in social media, which just keeps itself confined to the status updation rather than, you know, working on the field. So we are glad and we take pride in people like you who make all these things happen in reality. So thank you so much, sir, for adding a great value dimension, not only in India and abroad, but making people understand that we can really bring in sustainability or vertical farming through these kind of techniques, which are not very famous, but right now they are gaining momentum in the present day world. And I would like to share at this particular juncture that hydroponics is not exactly about botany or zoology or whatever we are talking about biology. It's about how we can generate the market analysis for funding this as a commercial element, and as well as quantum computing techniques which can be used for rearing the plants, which can bring in a lot of digital technology into the place of actually the plant growth. or tissue culture. So we are very happy, sir, to tell you that our children they've started doing small projects in this area, and we want to emerge as a full-time research kind of a department where we'll take a lot of work experience projects to prove that our children can contribute to this environmental conservation in the coming days. So once again, I thank the department for bringing out a wonderful opportunity of meeting the teaching fraternity and faculty and students for this particular webinar on especially on hydroponics and how it can be making a great difference to the society tomorrow, and also make people healthy to fight the coming up pandemics or any kind of viral disease in the world, because anything which is common to the place, the plant or food, it is going to make us strong to be healthy forever. Thank you once again, everybody. God bless all of us.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Ms. Sarayu from third year BSc Microbiology, Biochemistry and Chemistry to introduce our today's eminent resource person. Over to you, Sarayu.
Sarayu, you have to unmute your audio and talk.
Yes, sir. Good morning to all. I am Sarayu from third year MBIC, Sri Vidyaniketan Degree College. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our honorable resource person, Dr. Sairam Reddy Palicherla Garu, co-founder and director of Research in Urban Kisan Farms Incorporation, USA, and director of Thoughtfulness Institute, India, a renowned training institution for stress management to self-realization. He is a passionate researcher, an entrepreneur, and a visionary aiming towards developing environmentally safe and sustainable agricultural technologies. He was honored by numerous national and international scientific bodies and received many awards for his scientific contributions, including the most prestigious award, Fellow in Biotechnology by Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, Best Project Leader and Best Mentor by JK Organization India, Outstanding Biotechnologist by WCPTC Sri Lanka, and Distinguished Scientist by Siri Foundation, and also Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Excellency Award by Mother Foundation, Indian Achiever Award for the year 2020, and recently he was listed in the top 10 leaders in agricultural industry for the year 2020 by CEO Insights magazine. Currently, he is leading the R&D of his own startup company, Urban Kisan, which is aimed at producing the safest and cleanest food for the urban dwellers. Urban Kisan is selected by the most anticipated acceleration centers in the world, Y Combinator, USA, listed in top 100 innovative companies in the world by Forbes, and named in the top 5 most influential projects in India for the year 2020 by Project Management Institution. He was awarded PhD in Plant Biotechnology from SV University, Tirupati, in collaboration with most renowned IISc Bangalore. He did his postdoctoral research in IISc as National Fellow of Biotechnology and as NIH Fellow in University of Delaware, USA. To his credit, he developed and released rice, tomato, and okra hybrids with high yielding and disease tolerance characters. He has been a sincere seeker of spirituality, practicing thoughtfulness way of meditation for more than 2 decades. He is currently extending his voluntary services as Director for Thoughtfulness Institute India and also a trainer of thoughtfulness meditation and contributing his part in building stress-free society orienting towards higher life goals. On behalf of SVDC, I deem it as an honor and pleasure to invite Dr. Sairam Reddy Palicherla Garu as today's resource person. We are indeed blessed to have you with us today, sir. We heartily welcome you. Over to you, Sneha.
Thank you, Sarayu. I deem it an honor to invite today's esteemed resource person, Dr. Sairam Reddy Palicherla Garu, to enlighten us about today's topic, hydroponics, emerging trends in farming and gardening. We heartily welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Sneha. Thank you, Sarayu, for a nice introduction. Thanks, Madam Ashalata, for your wonderful introduction about today's session. I also thank Dr. Ravikanth for making me part of this wonderful session today. I'm also very glad to see Dr. Keshav is also part of this. The seminar is my good friend, from my college days. So, and I welcome all the participants for this wonderful session. Let's see how I can make it useful for all of you. Today, what I'm going to talk is not just sustainability. If you see hydroponics, yes, it is sustainable, but it is also solving many other problems. So as Madam Ashalata very rightly pointed, sustainability is a word, in fact, supposed to be very close to our hearts, but it is not in unfortunately because of many other reasons. So any component which really has to penetrate into the society, it has to has a commercial element to it. Otherwise, it won't. It has to be useful, in a significant way to the society and to the people, and to the people who are actually promoting it. Then it, as a whole, I mean, this will become very useful for all the stakeholders, and this will be driven very nicely. So I'll try to touch upon a few points here and there about what is this, the entire concept about. And I see a lot of enthusiastic participants here. Uh, Many of them may take this concept as a hobby, or like me, as an entrepreneurship. You are welcome, and you can drive your passion in any way. Okay, so let me try to see the problem statement. The fundamental issue here, basically, like, our population is growing exponentially. So currently we are about 8 billion people in the world, and it is expected to I mean, the 10 billion people in next 50 or 30 years. So it's a big jump which we have to cater, 20%. And on the other side, what is happening is the land which is available for cultivation is getting reduced. The per capita land, meaning the land availability per person, is reducing from 0.7 acres today, and it is going down to about zero 0.4 acres by 2050. That is a one big problem where we need to address what you call the the sustainability. Unless we come up with the technologies which are sustainable, or the meet the demands of what is required. So the green revolution primarily went towards that. Okay, towards meeting the hunger. Okay, so hunger, what we actually talk about is the malnutrition, right? So if you see the malnutrition, the status, there are about 800 million people in the world, even now, do not have enough food to lead their active or a healthy life. That's about 1 in every 9 people in this world do not have sufficient food to lead their good life. The poor nutrition is still causing about 45% of the deaths in infants. That accounts to 3.1 million children per year. Okay, so 1 in every 4 children are stunted because of malnutrition. Approximately 60 million children are underweight in India alone. 60 million children are underweight in India alone. That is 6 crores, 60 million. So what is this malnutrition? Let us try to understand it as a concept. We know something about malnutrition. We have been addressing it. Let us have a relook at it. It is time that we should have a relook at this malnutrition. So what is malnutrition is we don't have sufficient food to eat. That's the malnutrition. So what we did during Green Revolution, we increased production and productivity. So we increased production by bringing a lot of forest land or dry land under cultivation, by building dams, by the scraping the forests, deserts and all, and then we brought that so much of land under cultivation. That is how we increased production, by increasing the land for cultivation. And on the other side, we increased productivity. Productivity meaning per acre, how much yield we get. That has gone up. How we increased? We increased it by introducing high yielding varieties. High yielding varieties primarily have come from different parts of the world. Most of the germplasm do not belong to our country. They introduced, let's say, wheat is introduced from Mexico. A lot of rice varieties are introduced from China and Japan. Of course, India also enriched germplasm available, but it has gone through a lot of and mixing of the germplasm, and it again reintroduced. And then introduced hybrids, high yielding hybrids, where again the germplasm from different parts of the world was brought in. As a result of it, since the germplasm, the varieties which we are currently growing are not native to our location, they are highly susceptible to a lot of pests. The native varieties somehow had resistance to this pest. So we never had so much of pest problem earlier. So we had yield issues. It was not so high. So now when we increased yields by introducing exotic germplasm, and they fell actually susceptible to these diseases. So to handle these diseases, what we did, we started spraying pesticides. And one of the fundamental character of this new varieties, high yielding varieties, is high nutrition uptake ability, or is also called fertilizer responsibility, right? More fertilizers you give. Sorry. Okay. So the more fertilizers you give, the varieties will give higher yields. So as a result of it, what we did, we started giving lots of pesticides and so much of fertilizers to the crops. And we increased irrigations and borewell and all. As a result, what happened? Soil started degrading. Soil degraded because of so much of fertilizer was given. Now the neutral soils are becoming alkaline soils. At alkaline status of pH of the soil, plants cannot absorb the nutrients. Though nutrients are available in the soil, plant cannot take it. So that's how soils degraded, and environment got polluted by spraying these pesticides and other things. And these same pesticides started sticking to the food, and a lot of toxic chemical traces are finding in the food, and that we are consuming and causing a lot of trouble. And another important challenge what has happened is, like, the crops are no more our nutrition driven or the requirement suitable to the nutrition. The crops are primarily trade driven. For example, if you see tomatoes, earlier in my childhood days, those tomatoes used to be very soft and juicy. That was the kind of tomato available in the market. But now, today, if you go to market, the tomatoes, what you see are very hard, very hard. Sometimes, I feel that you can play cricket with that. That hard tomatoes are available in the market. So why do we need those hard tomatoes for our consumption? No, we don't need. But what has happened that summertime, the tomatoes, especially these hard tomatoes, are produced in regions like Pune, and this tomato is exported all across the country. So now this tomato should withstand the transport abilities, and then it should stay for 4 or 5 days until it reaches market without getting spoiled. And then it comes to our home and we keep it again for 4 or 5 days and then consume it. So now it should have a shelf life of 15 to 20 days. And for all that, unless it is very hard, it's not going to be sustainable for the farmer to grow and make it profitable. So because it's a trade requirement, the farmer is now obligated to grow such kind of very hard tomatoes. But these kind of tomatoes may not be really useful for our recipe. It changes the taste, that changes several other things, and also changes the nutritional values. Another best example I'll give you is about rice. If you take rice, currently what we have is the small grain rice. We call it as Sona Masuri, right? This Sona Masuri rice is more popular because of two reasons. One, we as a consumer like it because it won't become sticky if you cook it in the morning and keep it till evening. Still, it stays fresh. It won't become sticky. Okay, no gluing kind of thing, and it tastes good. On the other side, for a miller, rice miller, so when he buy 1 ton of paddy and he mill it, he'll get about 720 kilo or 700 kilos of rice grain out of that paddy when he do the milling. That is what is called head rice recovery, right? But that is but the other rices, the bold rice, this which we all used to consume a few years ago, at least 2 decades ago. The bold rice is the one which everybody used to consume. The bold rice, uh, head rice recovery is only about 55%, meaning for 1 ton milling, you get only 500 kilos of rice, which we can consume. So now the traders started paying more premium price from the farmers for the small grain because they get a more recovery. So profitable to them. And we also liked it because it is very tasty. But in between, what happened was something astonishing. See, if you see the rice, now we call it as brown rice, right? Brown rice, the fundamental requirement in the brown rice is the embryo in the rice. The bottom of, if you go home and take rice grain and check, the bottom portion or one tip of this rice grain, you'll have a semicircular cut. That is actually an embryo which is removed if you mill it heavily. Brown rice supposed to carry that, or it should have that, the translucent or thick a kind of embryo. There is no semicircular cut in that area. So that is the embryo. So why I'm talking about the embryo? Embryo has a fatty acid, small chain fatty acid called GABA, gabapentin.
अच्छी 125 सीसी वो जस्ट कलर ब्लू आता ब्लैक आता उसमें
Can you please mute your
नवी कट पता ये वहां नहीं
yeah.
There's a small little disturbance. I have muted all the participants.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
those
please.
who are not actually participating probably can exit, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no problem. I have muted them. They will not disturb us.
Okay. So that gabapentin is a small chain fatty acid. It is rich in this embryo. You know what is this gabapentin does? Now, gabapentin is several $billion market in the West and everywhere. So that is used for anti-obesity. That is used in diabetes. So this gabapentin, which is built in this rice grain, is a big rice grain, will have very big embryo. So that used to take care of our obesity issues and everything. Today, if we see anyone is diabetic, doctor first thing says is don't eat rice, or reduce rice, eat very little rice. Or if someone is putting weight, they said don't eat rice, eat wheat, all these things. But we have moved away from our actual good nutritious rice to a rice which just tastes good, but it's not good for our health, right? This has happened primarily because of trade intervention, okay? Trade requirement, miller requirement, and we are distracted, diverted towards our taste rather than our nutritional needs. As a result, what happened now is something different kind of malnutrition. Now we have food to eat, we have money to buy, but what we are eating is actually unhealthy food. It is a imbalanced diet. This is again leading to the malnutrition from a different direction. So wheat and rice, what has happened? Currently, in terms of productivity, we touched the top. We are self-sufficient. We have excess rice and wheat produced in the country. India is the biggest rice exporter in the world, but still so much of rice is actually left out in the country. We are just burning, just to make sure we vacant the godowns for the next season crop. But on the other side, what is happening? Any food what we eat, the percent of food carrying the pesticide residues is kept on increasing. It is global trend. It's the same thing. This is a article which is published a couple of years ago from this Agricultural University, Hyderabad. So every food what we are eating is filled with either pesticides and also the heavy metal intoxications, heavy metals like chromium, nickel, lead, cobalt, all these things, which are causing serious problem. Lead is actually counteracts on our hemoglobin. Indian women, about 70% of them are actually anemic as per the World Health Organization statistics. So if you go to a doctor, the first thing they say is eat leafy greens so that you can get more blood. But our vegetables, especially leafy greens, are filled with these heavy metals like lead. 19 times, if you see it in this table, on the bracket side is that many times more than actually permitted levels of this heavy metal. 19 times more lead is present in the leafy greens what we are eating. So what does it mean? This lead is going to counteract on our hemoglobin and further make us more anemic rather than helping us to gain blood. See, that is the kind of a situation. This is a reality, okay? So, and on the other side, even whatever food we are being produced, and then they are very hygienic, and we are using polluted waters, industrial effluents, and urban sewerage waters, and all these things are being used, which are contaminated with microbes and also contaminated with toxins. So, as a result of it, now suddenly when we take these statistics, it's giving a very, very different scenario. The people are actually hungry are about 1 billion. Still about 1 billion people are hungry in the world. They still need food to eat, just some food to eat. But on the other side, about 2 billion people are obese, overweight. And about 2 billion people are actually suffering from, the micronutrient deficiencies. You see? So these 4 billion people out of 8 billion people currently, that means 50% of human population is suffering from imbalanced food. That's the severity of the problem we are actually talking. So, okay, how do we address this? Do we have any solution from hydroponics? Let's just check, okay? What is hydroponics? Hydroponics is basically like, it's growing with water, without soil. We don't use soil, but in place of soil, we use only water, okay? So, it's not new. Hydroponics is not just discovered now or something. It's there from ages, from decades and centuries. And in fact, during Second World War, a lot of these countries who are part of the Second World War used this hydroponics technique to feed their soldiers because they had no land, there's nothing to actually spend so much time in cultivation and all. They just had to do something to produce food. The Second World War actually promoted a lot of this hydroponics for their soldiers to feed. Okay. So now slowly this lot of farmers are adapting, but still a lot of roadblocks are there. The commercial derivation is still a challenge. So what is the advantage of hydroponics? Why hydroponics? So hydroponics don't use soil. So soil, in fact, is eroded everywhere. Soil is contaminated with microbial infectious microbes and also contaminated with heavy metals, industrial effluents, and then urban sewerage wastage. Okay, so that's the reason why, I mean, it's very difficult to use the soil, especially the soil which is in and around the cities, big cities. Villages are still safe. There is not major problem, except the erosion happened with the excess application of fertilizer, but otherwise it's still okay. But majority of the people are living in urban areas, and their vegetables, if not paddy, wheat, and things like, the field crops, but vegetable crops are still coming from suburban areas where the soil is heavily contaminated. And then, so you can expect about 2 to 30 times more growth, more yields from hydroponics. Okay, so it is unit economics. One is that you give a controlled nutrition which enhances the growth of the crop and gives a very high yields. Other one is it is possible for you to go vertical and increase the yield per unit, not per plant, per unit area. So it's possible anywhere from 2 times to 30 times higher yields, and with about 5 to 10% of water is sufficient. So in my experience, what we are actually doing from quite some time, for example, palak. If you have to grow palak in 1 acre, you need about 2.6 lakh liters of water for 1 acre of palak to grow. But whereas we are getting the same amount of palak, which is equal to 1 acre, in our vertical farm with just 9,000 liters of water. So we are talking about 9,000 liters of water versus 2.6 lakh liters of water. That's the amount of water you can save. And it doesn't, because no soil and no weeds, that's a big saving of labor. And also these days, again, toxic herbicides like Roundup and all are creating a big chaos, the causing the severe cancers and all. So many cases filed in the Western world against this Roundup Ready, and all those things can be quickly the avoided. Nutrient deficiency, again, the fertigation has always been like so much excess in the soil, but whereas in hydroponics it's a minuscule. In place of 250 kg nitrogen application, in hydroponics you just need about 2.5 kg of nitrogen. That's it. That will take care of the nitrogen, which is equal to 250 kg. It's not because now we are making the plant in a different way. It is because we are making the supply more efficiently. In soil, when you give this nitrogen, you are not just giving the nitrogen to the roots of the plant. You are also giving that nitrogen to the weeds. And the nitrogen is just not sticking to the soil. It is also leaching to the below soil. And there are a lot of other microbes which are going to act, and from nitrates to nitrite, nitrate to ammonia, all these conversions happen, and the nitrogen is still available in the soil, but not available to the plant. Okay, so all that can be avoided in this hydroponics, so that nitrogen or nutrient efficiency will increase. And the most important thing is pesticides. Since most of it is controlled, I mean zero pesticide application. Sometimes, if you do a loosely controlled environment, some amount of pesticides, you don't need to have these chemical pesticides. You can still go with biological pesticides and then control, make the produce safe. So, what is this nutrients? Like, the one big question generally people ask about this hydroponics is that if you don't use soil and then give these nutrients, and is it sufficient? Is it really going to make the produce healthy? This is a big question. Okay. So I just wanted to give you a little brief about the nutrients, what generally plant requires. Is classified into three different groups. One is macronutrients, and micronutrients are also called trace elements, and the other one is secondary nutrients. Okay. Macronutrients are NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These are the primary nutrients where mostly even farmers use in excess because it requires decent quantities of the thing. And the secondary nutrients also, if not so much, but some amount is quantitative only. The magnesium and calcium, good amounts of this magnesium and calcium are required. And trace elements are required at a microgram or milligram level, very low quantities, but extremely essential. The sulfur, iron, manganese, zinc, copper, boron, molybdenum. These are the things. This is the primary nutritional elements, micro, macro, and secondary elements, what plant requires. Most of the other combinations can be built by the plant. You don't need to supply from outside. In case of certain medicinal properties, there could be some substrates which you may have to supply. But otherwise, for regular food cultivation, this is all the plant requires. I'll give you an example what actually happens in terms of in case of epiphytes, because you may ask that, is it true? How do I know that that's all plant requires? I mean, how can I believe it? Okay, so I'll give you an example here. What happens in case of epiphytes? If you ever gone to these rainforests like our Western Ghats in India, so what you see is always like the high humid atmosphere in the forest. High humid, mostly it is 100% saturated, and then these orchids, lots of these orchids actually hanging on the trees, above the tree branch, and then it puts or throws these thick roots hanging in the air. Okay, these are hygroscopic roots. This root absorb moisture from the humidity which is available in the air, and this moisture is filled with these elements what I just mentioned. That's all. Rest everything it manufactures. It has vitamins. It has other nutritional values. Everything are there even in these epiphytes, but they are all manufactured by the plant inside. They're not absorbed from outside. They are manufactured inside. That is a genetic ability of the plant, nothing to do with environment. Environment triggers the biosynthetic pathways, but environment is not going to supply these elements. This is what you should understand. So plant has the ability to produce our primary nutrients like carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, vitamins, antioxidants, and other important nutritional supplements what we take from plants are actually manufactured inside the plant using these elements, micro, macro, and secondary nutrients. So what we do in hydroponics is, in place of these branches or whatever the epiphytic plants take as a support, we use a growing medium or just water with some support from using the clay balls. Okay, so what are these growing medium? Like a coco peat, clay balls, vermiculite, perlite, gravels, and rock wool stars, and then sawdust. When you cut wood, you get the sawdust. The sawdust also used as a supporting medium for the plants to grow, but the nutritional supply goes with this, using this macro, micro, and secondary elements in a required proportion. Each plant requires a different combinations and formulations of these nutrients. And also, like, not only that each plant, but the plant at a different growth intervals, it requires different concentrations and combinations of it. So we just need to find out what is that the plant's requirement and supply the same. So what is happening outside currently? I'll just give a brief about what is actually happening currently and where we're supposed to go ahead. So currently there are a lot of commercial, if not like any other field, but still at a limited way, but in a definitely required quantities of these home kits they call. These are green stations primarily to grow these leafy greens available in the market. We from our company also we have a unit available in the on online. So and there are other companies selling these kits, and you can use them, put them either in the balconies or indoors using lights, and then grow most of your leafy greens just required for your home needs. Okay, so that if you just grow even the leafy greens, that actually takes care of most of your greens requirement. You know, the our anemic problems can be resolved by deploying this more effectively. There's also another class of kits available called smart home kits. So what does it mean? These smart home kits not just function in a normal way. They are tech built. Okay, they are rich of technology. They are integrated with IoT systems. I hope you know IoTs. They are actually linked up with this automation and then online internet, and they can be operated from your mobile. You can control lighting, you can control EC nutrition concentrations, and also pH, and everything whatever is needed for the plant can be controlled from your app on your mobile, sitting from anywhere, because they are connected to the internet and they are automatic. On the other side, as a business, like, you know, these small and medium growers, like family growers, like someone who is interested to grow hydroponics, and they can just take their rooftop or a small backyard or maybe a half an acre or quarter an acre and build a small shade net or a polyhouse and produce the greens or few other vegetables, and they can be supplied to the neighborhoods, friends, family, and all, and make a living for them. Very good living, happy living for them. On the other side, there are also smart farms. They're also called container farms. There are abundant containers, transport cargo containers, which are being converted to these hydroponic farms. There's a company called Freight Farms in US. So these freight farms came up with this wonderful innovation where they converted these containers to hydroponic farms. So what is the advantage? These containers can be placed anywhere. It doesn't matter. It could be a desert with 55 degrees temperature, or it could be a the hilly, snowy hill region with minus 20 degrees temperature, but still you will be able to grow your food unaffected. Of course, they're also tech built and expensive though. Now the new concept which is coming in, just started coming in, is something called in-store farming. So like a company called In-Store Farm is the name of the company in Europe. What they started building is a small cupboard where the crops are grown inside. And these cupboards are placed in the supermarkets, if not small, but big supermarkets. There are the space taken and they grow there. The customers can go there and harvest what they want and get it built. And along with other producers, the supermarkets also engage this kind of small farms in their stores. They're called in-store farming. And at another level is something called monoculture or medium-sized farms, like in 1 acre, 2 acres, or 3 acres of farms. They are adapting the high-value vegetables like capsicum, tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, and these lettuces and this kind of a crops, and they are used either for domestic consumption or even exports. It's a good business to do, but mostly this is being exploited by the unfortunately the mediators and all, because none of these growers are having direct market linkage. They're medium size, medium scale producers. They're dependent on the mediators. Yet another size, large farming, like this company called um, uh, Bovary Farms, okay, in US. So the this one here, the vertical towers, is in New Jersey in USA. It's a huge. It's about 35 feet tall, and it's like a big football stadium kind of a thing, filled with these towers and temperature controlled, and they produce the greens, and supplies to a large part of the US, especially New York City, and then parts of New Jersey are all supplied from this one single farm. Okay, so there's another farm on the left side is called Plenty. It's located in California. So this is, they go vertical like a wall kind of a thing. Zip grow technology they use. This is one of the biggest vertical indoor farms in the world. This Plenty. The Elon Musk brother is an investor in this farm, and they're trying to make it very big. On the bottom side, the round circle kind of thing is a very interesting farm, which is built in Japan. They call it as Grandpa's Dome. This is a very space saving and a very innovative approach, and many of such domes are part of their farm. So at another level, large scale, huge acres, 10, 20, 30 acres, 100 acres of farms, and growing only cherry tomatoes or only cucumbers or bell peppers or lettuces. This is extensively available in Netherlands, France, and other parts of Europe, this kind of farming, because they are already used to this kind of greenhouse farming technologies. They could quickly adapt into this the hydroponics. So what we do in Urban Kisan, we started this company Urban Kisan and not so far away, about 3 years ago. I mean, in 2018, actually, we started our activities. So I'll just give you a little brief of what we are actually trying to do. So our fundamental, the motto, what we wanted to do is very and sincerely stick to this sustainability and also serve the nutritional values, what actually the urban dwellers are missing. So that needs to be catered, because most of the time this hydroponics thing is considered as expensive. In fact, it is very expensive to set up. So as a result of it, even produce is expensive. So only rich people can afford, the people like us cannot afford to buy maybe a day, one day or two times, but not for a everyday consumption. That's a kind of a situation. So that is where we entered, and we wanted to bring this hydroponics into the mainstream agriculture. So we can, meaning, so we will be growing in such kind of a quantities like any other soil grown, and the pricing also has to be equal to the soil grown, and the setup costs also should come down drastically so that a lot of farmers can adopt this technology and then increase their profits. So unless it comes into the mainstream, so all those figures what we spoke in the beginning, initial slides, talking about the big requirement of increasing the productivity to meet the demand for the growing population, and to replace this unhealthy food with the healthy food, all that is not going to be possible. This is going to be a showcase technology or something fascinated technology, but not a technology which we can use it like any other technology. That is where we have started our entire journey. So we're happy that Samantha joined us a year later, last year actually, and she is part of us now. So what we started building in the initial days is this kind of a kits, and they are perfect kits which are designed for the Indian middle class apartment balconies or rooftops. And the produce what you get should really meet their greens requirement. I mean, the doctors recommend 50 grams of greens, no, actually 100 grams of greens twice a week we should consume. So to meet our vitamin requirement, iron requirement, and fiber requirement, and few other needs. So it's very important to get such kind of a thing. These green stations are built and they can grow their own food. And we started building vertical rooftop farms like what you see here. We built a farm in Jubilee Hills, in one of the most premium locations in Hyderabad, in a high-rise building rooftop. And we produced, and even now we have been growing lots of these greens, including Indian greens, because our primary focus is Indian, the basket. So not lettuces and all. We do have lettuces, but our primary target is like gongura, totokura, palak, mint, coriander, all our Indian needs, chukakura and all. And that's what we wanted to do. So that's what we have been doing. We later came up with indoor technology. We developed our own lighting, and we had to intervene here to really make it sustainable and affordable. Because this, to have a farm of a size of 3,000 square feet, you need about 1,400 of these lights, LED lights. So if you buy these LED lights from the market leaders like Osaram and Philips, each LED light would cost around 4,500 to 6,000 rupees. So imagine if you have to buy the 1,400 of those lights, it costs around 60 to 75 lakhs just to build one store only for lights. So that's the reason why this produce is not affordable. So we intervened here. We came out with our own technology. We of course used LEDs from the Osaram, but we built the technology around. So we now produce each light at 500 rupees. So now the produce what we get here is actually very affordable, and it is almost same as the market price, no premium price at all. So we grow palak, we grow amaranth, we grow basil, we grow whatnot, everything in indoors. And then we came out with another business model. So we opened stores, outlets in the city. So where we grow these greens in those stores itself, and people can harvest it. These are exclusive stores, hydroponic greens, vegetables, everything is available here. Since they are there next to your neighborhood, there is no carbon footprint, no need of any large logistics involved here. So no wastage here. The entire food, like zero wastage. Whatever you grow, everything can be consumed. Nothing goes waste from our farms, and they are sitting right next to our neighborhoods. This is our R&D center. We have a huge greenhouse facility. We do a lot of vegetables we are bringing into the mainstream hydroponic cultivation. So regular chilies, bell peppers, cherry tomatoes, normal tomatoes, brinjal, whatnot. Everything we grow in hydroponics, and they're either no aggregate or just with water. So either way, so 100% hydroponics stuff. These are all our farms. We grow. You see these cucumbers, and we grow zucchini. We grow turnip. We grow radish, beetroot. We grow, the brinjals, bitter gourd, ridge gourd. Everything we grow. You see here, the cabbage is grown on the top of, it's at 10 feet high in a tower, and bottom you have this water bottle gourd and then bitter gourd. We see chilies. You see chilies, they are perfectly fitting into the vertical. So my dream is to build even these chili walls, like you saw the green walls. It's like chili walls, not chili growing in just one layer, but chili growing in multiple layers in about 10 to 20 feet high. So even bendi, I mean, it's almost impossible for anybody to grow bendi in undercover in greenhouse also. So because they behave so weird. So we in fact got into this breeding and developed this variety. What you are seeing here is a variety developed by Urban Kisan with a extremely short internodal distance. Now we are growing them in hydroponics. So this is what we do, and we have our website, and we sell all this produce. You can find out, the cost, what we are selling it. It is at par with the market. So all this we were able to do because we had to intervene at every step. The nutrients formulation we had to develop, and lighting technology we developed, and hydroponic equipment we in fact they produce. And then we introduced something called farm ball. This is a salad ball. Because we are growing all these vegetables so fresh, and we thought, why can't we convert this into a readily consumable salad? Okay, so 80% of the ingredients what you see here are actually produced in our farms right there, and you can eat the most fresh thing. So to achieve this, to make this entire technology possible, we intervened in every technology, and we built all these things our own. All these are in-house technology, and made them possible. So we are trying to make a lot of farmers as partners to us. We are developing robo-based technologies to monitor all this technology when it is in the farmer. Farmer may not be having the entire knowledge of handling this technology. So there must be some external help needed for the farmer to assist him. So for that, we are developing AI-based robo, which goes all around the fields and then monitor and tell the farmer in case of any challenge and what farmers supposed to do. So, and currently why this is not getting into the mainstream of agriculture is because of a few challenges, like the technology is still maturing, is evolving. The currently in India, like technology, nothing is Indian except Urban Kisan and maybe one or two academic institutions. Nobody is paying a serious attention on this technology to convert our Indian needs, because this is a tropical country. We have tropical crops, and they're different from where the hydroponics is extensively being used in the West. They are temperate crops and temperate regions. So it requires a lot of investment. It's a investment intensive approach. So such amounts of investments needs to flow in. They just started flowing in. Is about 140 crores of investment bankers are keeping for this technology for a right taker. So that is also made available, but somebody should go and then take that money and to develop this technology. It's still a sensitive market. People still have these concerns whether it is natural or some artificial or what is this. So a lot of research has been already done and demonstrated this is a safe technology, but that awareness needs to be built to transfer that awareness to the consumer. So, and is another very important problem I see is like, the crops what we are currently having, they are actually grown in soil, selected in the soil, they're bred for soil, but now suddenly want to use these varieties for hydroponics, where they need different types of the plant types. So there is a requirement of a breeding, a special breeding program for hydroponics to make it really profitable. And yeah, a lot of expectations what we see from our experience. Our customers, once they buy from us, they're extremely happy with what they're buying. But in the second, third time, even slight changes, a little spot on the leaf, they feel, oh, this is not good, because we are raising the bar of expectations of the customers. So it's also important to perfect the back end operations to meet their expectations. So that's what, in fact, I would like to say. It's a huge space for you guys. I mean, at any point want to even get into this entrepreneurship, this is a great space available. Currently, it is about 10 billion US dollars, and it is poised to go up to the 18 billion US dollars by 2025, 26. So the huge opportunity, and in fact, the technology which is actually becoming more matured is going to drive this space more crazily. I believe that this will go up to $25 billion by 2026. So that's all I wish to present. Thank you very much once again. So if any of you are having questions, I'll be very happy to take up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge and giving us the valuable information about hydroponics, which is very helpful to us in food diet and even in our gardening process. Now I request Swati Ramachandran from third year BSc Microbiology, Biochemistry and Chemistry to start question and answer session.
Good morning, sir. So there are few questions from the students.
Yes.
So shall I start?
Yeah, sure.
Hydroponics has changed or revolutionized farming, but how can it be implemented in our countries with famine and drought? Are there any advances being made to achieve this?
Yeah, I believe I answered this question in last part of my presentation. Yes, people like us are there at the forefront. I mean, trying to bring it into the mainstream agronomy, but a lot more to be done. And this is opening space for many people more confidently getting into this space and then handling this very effectively. So this is being done in the West, but there needs to be exploited for countries like India. Yes, it is being done. Technology is getting matured. Yes, it's definitely going to be available for every one of us to adapt very quickly.
Okay, sir. Another question. Is there any interrelationship between hydroponics and agri-nanotechnology?
Agri-nanotechnology and then hydroponics. It's a see, agro-nanotechnology, first of all, if you have to understand, what are we talking about? We are talking about input molecules being supplied at a nano level, right? Like fertilizers or pesticides or other plant growth promoters. Instead of giving in large scale, if you can convert them into nanomolecules, nanoparticles, and then supply them. So you'll be able to supply them at extremely low quantities, but still make sure that you are meeting the demands of the plant. So that's what agro-nano technology is about. Whereas in hydroponics, so though we are not actually giving the nanoparticles, but what we are giving is the soluble particles, which are much more smaller or invisible. They are already mixed with the water, solubilized in the water. So it's as efficient or more efficient than this other agro-nanotechnology, because we are not using the solid particles here. We are using only the solubilized particles.
Okay, sir. Another question. In future, if hydroponics completely takes over and replaces the conventional farming, how would it impact the nature and the soil microorganisms? Isn't it their extension a threat to life?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. See, agriculture is only actually degrading the soil. That is the problem, our current problem. Soil is being degraded with our current agriculture practices. So we are unnecessarily dumping chemicals in the soil and then changing the soil pH and soil microenvironment, which is making the microbes inhabitable, the soil inhabitable for the microbes. So in hydroponics, what we are doing is we are not touching the soil. We are doing the soilless farming. All that what soil does to the plant is being supplied. Okay, so soil is unharmed, number one. So, and then microbes are still being used in hydroponics. Please don't think that hydroponics don't depend on soil microbes. All the soil microbes are used in the root zone of hydroponics. Uh, just the thing is that you don't have soil. It's not that hydroponics is against soil. The hydroponics technology is trying to solve the problem which the soil is actually suffering from currently. The soil is suffering from the exploitation. That problem will be solved. In my view, if you have to replace the entire agriculture with hydroponics, I don't think it is possible. So it is only possible to replace the agriculture of vegetables, major vegetables, not the entire agriculture. If imagine that if you have to grow paddy, lakhs and acres of paddy, if you have to replace with hydroponics, and the value what we derive out of it may not really economically feasible for countries like India. But still, countries like Japan are very seriously working on paddy hydroponics, and they even came up with the tech. They're now working on how they can come up with commercialization, the vertical, where they don't have space. Countries like Singapore, they don't have place, they don't have land to grow any vegetable. 98% of the vegetables consumed in Singapore are actually imported from the neighboring countries. They don't have a place to grow. Okay, so this is going to be useful for those guys only because there's no land, there's no soil. There are buildings, high rises, spaces, all that can be utilized to grow space. Singapore is running a campaign now 30 in 30, meaning 30% of their food they want to grow by 2030. Just imagine, the kind of a problem they are having. 30% of vegetables they want to grow by 2030, another 10 years, meaning what they are growing, very little, not even 2% currently. Okay, so it is going to be a big boon for countries like them to convert and then utilize. But for countries like India, so we can adopt this technology quickly for vegetables where a lot of contamination, suffering, problems are happening into hydroponics, and vegetables are quick in its turnout, yields and everything, even they are economically viable. So to answer your question, since we are not touching soil, we are not degrading the soil, we are unharming the soil. Soil remains comfortably the way how it's supposed to be.
Thank you, sir. Another question. Is there any particular course to learn all these techniques, and do we have any jobs related to these hydroponics?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes and no, both I can say. A lot of people running trainings, workshops, so much like this in this technology, hydroponics, all across the country. So many people. But in my personal experience, none of those things are going to be of any use to you. They will only give this little awareness that what I spoke to you about in 1 hour time. So they will elaborate it in 3 hours or a day. That's all. And it is only little more awareness. It's not going to be a training, a course or anything at this juncture. But you have to learn just by joining some people who are doing it, or you should start on your own and learn. And I'm hoping in shortly, because this is being introduced in the mainstream curriculum of agriculture universities. So this will come into it. What I heard, SV University Botany department is running a course in hydroponics, so you can explore and find things. But no short term, no 1 hour, 2 hour, 1 day kind of workshops are going to be of any help to you to really make you aware of this technology. They just, whatever you are reading online, somebody will speak and then you listen.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Over to Sneha.
Sorry.
Yes, Keshav, you can
Thank you,
go
Swat.
ahead.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
Sai, this is Keshav.
Yeah, Keshav.
How are you,
I'm
Sai?
fine, Keshav. Thank you.
Thanks for a very nice and wonderful presentation. It was first time I heard something like hydroponics here, and it was very wonderful presentation. And I had actually one small doubt regarding the brown rice, because you were saying that brown rice has some GABA, correct?
Yeah.
You were saying like this is some fatty acid and it is going to help in the treatment of obesity. But actually, GABA is only a free amino acid, not a fatty acid.
Yeah,
And it's an amino acid, not a fatty acid. And one more thing is actually GABA don't have any role in obesity. So GABA is a neuro inhibitor. So maybe it will reduce anxiety and stress. Maybe those problems can be solved by using this brown rice, but not obesity, I guess. Maybe a small correction regarding that. And one more thing is actually like you were saying that you started applying some LED bulbs, which are costing less. Like instead of 4,000 rupees, you are using 500 rupees lights, right?
Yeah.
So does that make any difference in the lighting of the when you do the hydroponics? Don't it has any effect on the lighting the plants? Because the light that you are going to get with the maybe the 500 rupees bulb may not be the same as 4,000 rupees bulb, correct?
Yeah.
So won't it make any difference?
What is that? Not about 4,000? I didn't
get
it.
4,000 and 500 you are saying, like you were able to reduce the cost of the bulb price to 500. Yeah. So is it not going to influence the light, the amount of light you get from the bulb?
No. See, it is the, there are two factors which influence. One is the intensity, what we call it as PAR, photosynthetic active radiation. Okay. Other one is the spectrum of light. These are the two things which influence the plant growth and then also the nutritional value of the plant. Okay. So we did this compositional analysis and also the vitamin and other nutrient analysis, mineral analysis, where we see no difference at all.
So even with 500 rupees bulb, you are getting the same kind of growth.
See, what I was trying to tell you, Keshav, we are not manufacturing the LED.
Yeah.
LED is the same from the Osaram.
Okay.
It's the same LED. Okay. It's the same LED. LED, we are not manufacturers of LED. But we did, we built the entire fixture and we developed the driver.
Okay.
Driver is developed by us. The fixture is developed by us. And then recipe, the spectrum is actually our own spectrum. So how much of red, how much of blue, how much of green, orange, how much of far red, how much of deep blue you're supposed to have, that is our own recipe.
Okay.
So the quality of LED still remains Osaram.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
You were saying the same brand. Yeah. But the price only is the...
Cost is not because the material is expensive. Cost is because there are no competitors. There's no one else to build. They export, obviously, right? That is their R&D. They sell at whatever price they want.
Yeah.
Okay. So since we want to drive this technology, we want to make it popular by bringing it to the affordable prices, then we had to get it. It's not our business to go and develop a light.
Right.
We are obligated to do it. To bring it to the mainstream.
That's true. That's true. I think that light won't make maybe much difference. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So one more small.
Actually, our spectrum, our recipe is giving 20% higher yields than Osaram.
Very nice. Because you have reduced the cost of the bulb and you are able to get the more yield. So that's very nice. Yeah, one more small query. Maybe this is not, maybe I should not ask you this question. What is the effect of pH? Because hydroponics, maybe I think most of the plants Some of the plants, they require maybe different kind of pH, acidic pH, and some other plants, they may require slightly basic or neutral pH. So how do you like, because if you want to grow like different plants in the same hydroponic platform, so how do you like do this pH changes, whether they make any difference, like whether the pH is going to influence the plant growth?
pH is very important, Keshav,
Okay.
for the absorption of nutrients. But that
Okay.
won't change from plant to plant. pH almost remains same for every plant, but that differs from nutrient to nutrient. So there is a range from 5.5 to 6.5. The most of the nutrients can be absorbed by almost all the crops. Okay. So what we maintain is about anywhere between 5.5 to 6.5 is the pH we maintain. That would help any crop to handle the nutrient absorption. But what is different from crop to crop is the EC.
Okay.
EC varies from crop to crop. Let's say like lettuces are very sensitive to the salinity. Okay, that's a higher EC. So if EC goes beyond the 1200 or 1400, and the plant starts suffering.
Okay.
And crops like tomato requires about 3500 EC.
Okay.
So that's the kind of the EC requirements from crop to crop. So we have different systems for these. In fact, we group them into based on these EC requirements. So if we are building one system, so that system, if we are maintaining, let's say 1.4 EC or 1400 EC, so that meaning like the only that group compatible to that particular EC can grow in that system. So other plants, if we put, and you see the nutritional deficiencies. pH is important, but it's not going to vary from crop to crop for nutrient absorption, but EC does.
Okay. So when you are actually going to choose the composition of the minerals, is it going to be the same for all the different plants, or for different varieties of plants, different compositions you are going to, different recipes maybe I can say you are going to use different recipes for different plants, right?
No. Yes, actually. But what we do is we have this National Institute of Nutrition, NIN, right? NIN has published the nutritional composition for almost all these vegetables.
Okay.
And also we know that which crop is used for what kind of supplement, the addition. Some for vitamin A, some for vitamin C, or things like that, right? So we go by all the vitamins. In fact, all the vitamins are analyzed. Some crops are analyzed for dietary fibers also. Some are analyzed for certain minerals like leafy vegetables. Like iron is an important factor. Magnesium is an important factor. So these are the calcium for some crops. So minerals, in some crops we do, some crops we don't do, but vitamins we do for everything. And protein, dietary fibers also we do for based on the crop, as per the recommendations from NIN.
Okay. So what will be the composition? Final question. I should not ask too many questions. Okay, the last one. What should be the like compositional differences between actually hydroponically grown plant and a plant that was grown on soil? What will be the difference? Compositional, yeah.
What we noticed is, the vitamin C in every crop, wherever we analyzed, vitamin C is always more in hydroponic crops compared to the soil grown crops. And the minerals also rich in hydroponics compared to the soil because they are abundantly available for absorption.
Yeah, right.
There's no deficiency at the root zone. Their minerals are also abundant in the hydroponically grown. And rest all other things like dietary fiber and the remaining things, there is no significant variation between soil grown and hydroponics. And other vitamins also, there is no significant difference except vitamin C.
Okay. I think only water soluble vitamins may be rich in hydroponics because they are soluble in water and they'll be able to reach the plant very soon. So that's why I think we see complex maybe little bit more compared to the soil grown plants,
Soil
right?
grown. Rest everything is same. There's no less actually. There's no
Okay.
nothing. No nutrition element is deficient in hydroponics. That's a very important thing.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Sai. I'm very happy to see you here, and congratulations for starting a very new like urban.
Sorry, Keshav, we lost you.
He
Sai?
has muted.
Okay.
Yes, Keshav,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Congratulations, Sai, for
Thank you.
starting urban farming. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Sairam, I have a couple of questions.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I belong to Department of Zoology. Can we use fish in the water because hydroponics completely uses water, and fish releases ammonia, which will be useful for plants?
Yeah, there is a technology called aquaponics, which is purely based on the fish excreta. We don't use aquaponics for a couple of reasons. Because if we have to use aquaponics, we also need to manage fish, right? So
Wouldn't be that much difficult when compared to plants? The zoology people are very easy to be manageable.
yeah, so it is nothing to do with the difficulty, but it is also to do with the requirement, additional requirement to manage fish. Okay. And second thing is the fish excreta is not going to give the complete spectrum of nutritional requirements, micro, macro, and other nutritional requirements for the plant at the required levels. So you anyways have to substitute, and the recycle is not going to be of any help if you substitute. If you don't substitute, then that water can be recycled. It can go back to aquarium and come back to the plant. So there is a problem in achieving the maximity of the yields by using aquaponics. If there is a aquaponic major cropping, like someone is a grower of fish, right? And he can as well use that water to grow plants. So he may not get the best yields of crop, but that water can be utilized to get some yields, definitely. So, but if someone wants to grow crops, I don't see that growing the fish to replace other nutrients is of any viable solution.
Second question is, can we have MOU with Urban Kisan? Many of our children would be benefited.
For what?
To learn hydroponics.
I mean, we can discuss if it is, if there's something I can help you, definitely we can do an MOU. But it depends. We can discuss what is that your requirement and what we can do. So accordingly, we can definitely do whatever we want.
Thanks a lot, Sairam. Back to you, Sneha.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering our questions and clarifying our doubts. Now, I request our Head Department of Biological Sciences, Dr. S.V. Ravikanth, sir, to propose vote of thanks.
Dr. Sairam Reddy, at the outset, I should thank you a lot for accepting this. I know how busy you are. Despite your extremely breathtaking busy schedule, you have accepted it, and it was really a fantastic talk from you. I know you for the past 3 decades. I know how down to earth you are, and I thank you a lot for this webinar. I thank our principal, Dr. Asha Lata Madam, for all her encouragement. I would like to thank my colleagues, Dr. Lekyapriya and Dr. Sridevi, and colleagues from Department of Chemical Sciences, Mr. Parth Sarathi Head, and other colleagues, Mrs. Durga Devi, Dr. Mohan, and other colleagues for extending their help. I would also like to thank the media team, and I would like to thank Miss Swati Ramchandran, Miss Sarayu, and Miss Sneha for anchoring this program. Thanks a lot. And before just concluding, I would like to ask our principal madam to give her concluding remarks.
Yes, sir. I'm here. So I was just very seriously listening to sir. So thank you very much, sir, once again for adding such a great dimension. So I think this is a great beginning on the eve of the National Science Day for our college also to refine thinking, so and make science more popular as well as more applicable. Thank you, sir, for actually making us think like that. I think this would be a great celebration of our National Science Day. In fact, if we are trying to take it up, and as we know, 2021 we have the theme like the influence of the STIs or the science and technology in the future, and the educational impact that we can create for the skill development of the students. And this area being very bright as of now, the hydroponics, not only for the capitalization of the market and as well as the employability. Apart from that, as sir has rightly thought about the nutrition or the soil fertility, or maybe keeping intact a lot of sustainability in the world. I think this will be a great breakthrough if you're going to do more research on this. I hope that all the students and the faculty will take up the tips, whatever sir has given, shared so much of knowledge today, and make it more applicable in the future with the research projects or the work experience projects that we are going to create on campus. And very nicely for the first year students, we have a plan nursery course from starting from this academic year. I think we can do a lot of experimentation in that particular area, taking help and a lot of viewpoints and opinions from sir as well. Thank you once again, sir, for sharing all your valuable information. And I once again congratulate the Department of Biological Sciences for hosting this international webinar on hydroponics. Thank you so much, one and all. And everybody will have a really nutritious and a healthy world and healthy life in future. I think we should not worry about anything when we have great researchers like Dr. Saira. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable conclusion. I thank all the participants for joining us today, and you'll receive your feedback form very quickly. Kindly fill the feedback form for receiving your e-certificates. Best wishes and take care.
Madam, I will end the session, madam.
Sure, sir. Sure.